I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'll call this regular school board meeting for Independent School District number 544 to order and ask the clerk to establish our quorum.
Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Natalie Knudsen.
Here.
Melanie Cole.
Present.
Matthew Lemke.
Here.
Missy Hermes present. Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. I would look for a motion to approve our agenda this morning.
So move.
And a second?
I'll second.
I'll take Missy. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. And we'll move on to reports, starting with Kirby Anderson.
Yes, nothing on activities other than we've been floating around some of the Otter logo things. Finance has not met. We are looking at meeting this week to talk about bonding for Lincoln and also community ed, so set that up. 5-4 Foundation did not meet in July. Our next meeting is this Thursday at noon. We'll also be meeting next month on Thursday, September 8th, and we have our annual meeting that day. But I just want to share just a couple of dates to put in your calendar. The back to school in-service luncheon will be September 1st. It'll be taco in a bag. And Otter Pride Night will be on September 10th. And the Hall of Fame events are going to be on September 30th and October 1st. So you can mark those in your calendars, and that's
September 9th.
September 9th? Okay. They have that wrong in their notes, okay. Otter Pride Night, 9/9.
9/9.
Okay, that's a Friday.
Okay.
Friday, right?
Okay,
No,
stand
it's the
correct.
16th.
No,
Did they change it again?
it's the 9th.
Okay.
Because Derek said it, okay. I'm gonna just go double check on
You better
Derek's.
check again, because you just sent me.
September 9th, not 10th.
Yeah, didn't you
They
say
had
it
10
was
in their
later
notes,
and
but
then now
I'll
it got
I'll
bumped up
correct them.
Yeah, I
again?
got bumped up a week.
9th.
Oh,
Yep.
it did.
Okay.
All right.
All right, any questions?
Get that
Any other
clarified.
questions?
No other questions than that. All right, and for my board reports, Special Ed Co-op meets today and Region 1 didn't meet in July. So that wraps me up, other than to mention we have negotiations upcoming with Special Ed paraprofessionals beginning in a couple of weeks. So. Missy.
Okay, Staff Development Committee has not worked. I know that of course, it's August, so there's a lot of staff development going to be going on this month, including a lot of workshops on our new curriculum, the math curriculum. And then in terms of policy, that committee has not met, but I was looking at the legislative summary that came out of MSBA and some of the policy items that we should be looking to this year that might be happening, again, including social emotional learning and teaching, and then some additional maybe civics course being added to the graduation requirements for 11th or 11th or 12th grade. And then some changes to the 4-tiered teacher licensure system. And then also some additions perhaps coming along that need to be added to the world's best workforce plan. Things to be looking forward to in the coming year, if we can get the legislature to agree.
All right. Any questions for Missy? Natalie Knudsen.
Yeah, wellness has not met, and buildings and grounds has not formally met, but there's just continued movement out at the Lincoln School, which is good. And yeah, continued work on the chiller project with the Hockey Association, so just trying to get those things buttoned up.
All right, any questions for Natalie? Matthew Lemke.
Okay, Lakes Country Service Co-op, we meet on Thursday, so I have nothing to report for them. The Minnesota High School League did meet August 2nd on Tuesday, and so some of the things, they had some new directors come in, board members come in, so board of directors come in, so they had kind of a reorganization meeting, so a lot of new faces and changes, a few new faces and changes to committee assignments and stuff like that. One of the things that they did approve was the changing of the prep football championship dates to December 2nd and 3rd. That's a week later, and that's because the Vikings play that Thursday night Thanksgiving night, or Thanksgiving anyway, against New England Patriots. So they have to move the championship week to the next week, following week, but they are still having the semifinals the week before. So football's gonna go a little longer this year. So that was one thing. Another thing that, just to report, is on their budget, they did reduce the per student fee for participation. They approved it to $225. This approval of student fee is a reduction from the previous projected student fee of $460. So they're not quite going up. They dropped it quite a bit from what it was supposed to be. So sometimes it's good to report some good things that.
Okay, can I interject?
Yeah.
We were gonna raise fees to 500, but we didn't, so
Yeah.
now the good news is we left it where it was. Okay, back to you, Matt.
Well played, Minnesota High School league.
So, anyway,
So you just turned that into a negative.
Positive, it's good
It's a
for
good
us.
thing.
Us and the state high school league, yeah.
Yes.
so kind of an interesting, the other thing that they did, and I don't know if I'm a pro or a con to this, but sometimes because of the spring sports season and how short Minnesota's spring sports is, but the spring activities advisory proposed the following activity changes. And this will be going to the regional committee, changing baseball, that regular season games from 20 to no more than 24. So adding 4 more games during the spring for baseball. And also for softball, doing the same thing, changing it from 20 to no more than 24. Again, I think we have a difficult time just getting 20 games in, especially central and northern Minnesota. And so that one I was a little bit going, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. And then they also for Clay target is the proposal would be to add a girls only division to individual competition at the state level. Currently right now they compete boys and girls together, participation, and so they want to change that. And then there's also something for music. They want to propose adds guitar as their own category for music contests. So that's another change that they're looking at doing. So a couple of different things. And then a big thing that I know those that are involved with sports in general is the league staff shared timelines for the process of competitive section placement in district football for the next 2023-24 and 24-25. So in the spring, most coaches will be sitting by their computer, refreshing, looking to see where and who they are now put into competition with. So, and that's, their next board meeting is not until October 6th, so that's all I have to report.
Very good. Any other questions on state high school? Matt, when they say no more than 24 games, is it almost like it's mandatory to get to that level in order to stay competitive?
Well, it's that competition thing, so if you're, let's say that your conference or your section, whatever, that you have teams that go up to 24, there's almost like, well, now that they're doing 24, they will say like, well, we need to have to get to that level too. So I would say yes, there's almost that, but again, it's always fitting that into the spring schedule. I thought maybe they were gonna push spring schedule later.
Right.
Just because of how difficult it is to get the games in that they do schedule now. And but yeah. So it'll be interesting how that one, if that gets passed or failed.
Are you gonna see more doubleheaders?
Yeah,
Oh, there you go, yeah.
and they already do a lot of doubleheaders, so.
I know in the younger grades, I know in the 13U this year, they did some doubleheaders where they played 7 innings and the second game was 5 innings. So, because there's usually no lighting for
Yeah.
the second game.
And the biggest thing for baseball, not so much for softball, because softball doesn't have a pitch count, but baseball has a pitch
Yeah.
count, so you gotta have enough pitchers too to play. It's not many games in a week, because you're gonna tied to how many pitches a pitcher can have, so.
All right, thank you, Matt. Stephen Vigasa.
Nothing to report. Quick review, wasn't that?
Jeffrey Drake, superintendent.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, just want to start out with some thank yous, especially to the district office and the admin. We have done a lot on the personnel side from last spring all the way through the summer. And that involves a lot of time for people reviewing applications, doing the interview process and the hiring process, and then all the follow-up that we have with people onboarding. So I do appreciate all the work of my colleagues making all those things happen. We are in a pretty good place staffing-wise. We may still have a few support positions to fill, and we're always looking for custodians. It seems like we've been short on our custodial staff for 2+ years now. But we're in pretty good shape heading into the year, and that is not an easy feat anymore, as it becomes more difficult to find applicants at times, especially for some of our teaching positions. We have a fall activities annual sports roundup coming up on the 10th this week, and we're excited about that. We've seen really good participation in our activities and expect that will continue. Excited about the New Year's coming. And then, of course, with fall practices starting, that somewhat marks the formal end of summer in a way, because we're pretty much back at it with lots of activity going on in the schools in preparation for the start of a brand new school year. Which leads me to the next topic, and that's our back to school open houses. So we have a full docket on Wednesday, August 31st, with a note that the open house at Lincoln is on Thursday, September 1st. So just a notation there. Most of our open houses will be on that Wednesday, August 31st. And then our big district-wide gathering for Welcome Back is September 1st. And we've got a tight schedule while recognizing the Fergus Falls Teacher of the Year will happen that morning. We'll do some safety stuff. Christy Hastings will be here with Pemberton to give the staff an update. And then we'll also have our annual safety training with our own in-house Eric Strom. And then the afternoon we'll have a keynote speaker, which we're looking forward to. And at the start of that week, we'll have an in-service activity talking about purpose. So should be hopefully a fun but busy in-service week schedule, and appreciate all the work that's gone into putting those pieces together. Lots of projects still going on. It's been a really busy summer for things. The ALC bathroom is underway. We are hopeful that will be done in time for the start of the school year. It's going to be a little bit nip and tuck maybe. Roosevelt Kitchen has not started. We're just waiting for some final approvals for that. The Roosevelt roof and canopy project. So the roof piece, canopy piece was done with that ice damage last year. We have had multiple conversations with the adjuster, and that's where the holdup has been. About a week and a half ago, we had a conference call with the adjuster. We believe that everything was worked out there in terms of questions, but right now the district and Comstock was waiting, the last I heard, on the final insurance go-ahead to get that work done. And again, this is something that really ideally is done before the start of school, when we have a lot more traffic and both students and staff around that area. So hopefully those I's get dotted and T's crossed. Some final details kind of on the Lincoln School piece, getting down to some fine tuning before putting that out for bids. They're talking about door handles, door closures, that kind of thing. Then during our work session, we can maybe spend a few minutes talking about the playground, because they did give us multiple options in terms of the playground, although we're still waiting for some cost estimates on what those may be. And then the chiller project has started. I will have a meeting with the city and the Fergus Falls Ice Figure Skating Organization and Hockey Association later this morning. just talking about when the high school KSS will lose its air conditioning capacity, and seeing if we can work out a transition that will be amenable to everybody. This is a few photos of, these are photos of the rec gym resurfacing that was done. And my history in the community does not go back very far, but I understand that these designs are kind of an homage to the historical design of that old gym with the FF in the, center court. And then, if I understood this correctly, the lane, the original lane was painted maroon like that as well. So I have not been in there to see it in person, but looking forward to that. That's the new gym floor design. And then community ed, we have the new carpeting installed there. We have blinds coming, and then new tables and chairs. So that really has spruced up that facility. And the office areas off on the side and the back room where we do driver's ed also were recarpeted. And with that, I'll just open it up to any questions.
I think just one addition to our calendar. I think on August 18th, we're having the fifth graders out here at KSS.
Oh, right start.
Yep.
Yes,
Just-
thank you.
Just fifth graders only. Yeah, just one more addition.
Is the chiller project what's created the big pile of dirt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, right here.
All right. Any other questions for the superintendent? All right, we'll move on then to the general consent items, where we'll consider approving minutes from July 18th board meeting. And Kirby, please tell us about the bills and treasurer's report.
Yes, Missy Hermes and I met today with Renee this morning before this meeting and reviewed. And as far as the treasurer's report goes, this time of year we generally drop a little bit in our fund balance. We're down to about $3 million from last month. More bills going out, more money going out than money coming in. But we are $4 or $5 million over last year this time too. So that we're still pretty healthy in that respect. We went through 8 pages of checks that went out, and Renee was good enough to answer all of our questions. Some of the highlights, a lot of electrical bills. We had Cassette had $28,000 in retrofitting for lighting. We paid out our service, our SRO payment went out this month to the police department, so that was just under $100,000. Another $17,000 or $18,000 to Otter Electric for cameras. A lot of the money went out this month for our new math curriculum. We had $153,000 for the math panels. Another $141,000 for the curriculum itself for math. Another $47,000 to Dreambox for the math curriculum. See a little bit of a pattern here. Wiring with Lightspeed, $24,000 to wire in the panels for the math curriculum. More electrical, another $30,000 on lighting retrofits. We had a couple of things related to Lincoln with $30,000 for Zerberg. And Jeff just showed the flooring for Roosevelt Community Ed. That was $25,000 went to Sealands. I think that was half the price for the carpet. And another $58,000 to McGraw Hill for math curriculum. So we put these new math curriculum pieces together, it adds up quite a bit. Unfortunately, we only do that once every so many years. So, but it'll be exciting to get the new panels up and running and see how everything works together. So unless there's questions, let's thank Renee. She answered every question we had right off of her sheets, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, very good. We'll move on to personnel. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I get one entire page, so just hold on. I'll try to be as quick and brief as I possibly can. Under administrative contracts, Christy Sullivan, her resignation, along with the hire of Amelia Lamar, certified staff leave of absence request, Alexandra, or as we know, Ally Nicholson, reach teacher. She's requested a 1-year leave of absence for this current school year. And then under certified staff hires, Joel Hikus, an overload contract. He's been working on an overload contract for a number of years, but it is one class, both first and second semesters, that he'll be teaching again. And then Rebecca Kruger, she will be recommended to be hired as a reach teacher, the long-term substitute for Ally for the school year. And then under support staff resignations, we have Ann Taylor, piano accompanist, Amy Duno, Lori Wietenheimer, Carrie Carlson, and Darcy Landberg. They're all special ed paras. Note that Darcy is resigning as a special ed para to become a Title I para instead. Support staff hires, we have a number of food service staff that have switched jobs, and basically it kind of all came about from Lisa Brown's retirement, and then as people moved into her job, then opened up their job, and then continued on. So we have a job change for Jessica Oshniewicz, Kat Schumacher, and Linda Dungeon right now. I anticipate we'll still have one more food service opening. I'm not sure where that will go, but that'll be on the next board agenda. And then Ariana Velasco for activities co-curricular secretary, Kathy Swanson, a student support aide at Adams. And then we have 3 Title I's, Title I paraprofessional positions, Amy Schultz, Kristen Monshaugen, and then Darcy Landberg, all hired in the elementaries, and their designated schools are right there with their, across from their names. And then Carrie Anderson, assistant server cleaner at Kennedy Secondary School for the food service program. Support staff contract change, I recommend a grade change for our Roosevelt Education Center food service position. Currently at a grade 1, to move that to a grade 2. That person is a lone solo person over there, so does all the serving, organizing, and such, so I would recommend that to be a grade 2 instead of grade 1. We have a couple individual contracts that have settled, our HR payroll specialist, Mary Drake, and then health safety coordinator, Eric Strom. And then under coach hires, we have Shane Tilkey, head baseball coach, and Devaney Smith, head softball coach. So I would recommend all of these changes and such for board approval.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on these items? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we will move on to new business. And I would entertain a motion to set the fiscal year '23 public schools meal rates, lunch rates, breakfast and lunch. So let's make that motion.
So moved.
All right, and a second?
I'll second it.
All right. And any discussion on that? I know there was quite a process that went into this. I don't know if Renee or the superintendent wants to just speak to the meal changes, kind of summarily what we were looking at there.
Sure, I can speak to it. So we are, especially with breakfast, our meal prices had been fairly level for a number of years. And in the meantime, our cost had risen both in terms of on the personnel side, but also the cost for product had risen significantly. And so that is a significant also raise to the former price of the breakfast. The other pieces are again tied to, which were smaller increases, but tied to the increased cost of food and everything else that goes along with our food service process. So hopefully we're able to kind of keep the increases to a minimal amount for a number of years moving forward, but our costs are kind of subject to the market costs, and that's what's driving these.
Very well. Thanks. Renee, anything to add?
I don't think so. The state came out with the recommended adult pricing for breakfast and lunch, and those had gone up significantly. So we're kind of in line with, I mean, we didn't pass along as much of an increase as what the state had on those, but everything was due for an increase.
And then as a commentary, we tackled this a little bit earlier than the school year, as my understanding is, to encourage people to apply for free and reduced
Yes.
lunch prices, which the misnomer is that it's only about lunch prices because it's, or meal prices, because it does affect a variety of funding for the schools. So we continue to try and get that message out to the community, but.
Yeah, especially now when we've had a year or two of free lunches.
Right.
And so that's ending, and we have the increases, so I think the free and reduced applications, we want to encourage everybody to get those in if they qualify, for sure.
Yeah, we'll try and get the letter out today on that, so.
Very good, thanks.
Okay.
Those are available online, those applications, right?
It will be,
Will be.
yes. Yep.
They will be.
And I'll add too, it's more than just the school, it's the community, like a lot of our daycare facilities and childcare facilities that participate in the Minnesota State lunch program where they're mandated to serve a fruit and a vegetable and a grain, and they also are highly impacted by the free and reduced. And their funding's been cut significantly because we haven't had to apply for it the last couple of years. So, yeah.
And those forms are available at these open houses and things like that, right? So it's convenient for people.
And I think most people apply online
Yeah.
with the link, that's just the, yeah. But, yeah, it's available, they're available. It'll also be in our back to school newsletter, so they can actually just cut it right out of the back to school newsletter and send it in.
Okay.
So, or drop it off, or whatever the case may be. So we always have that form in there. But I think the majority of people do it electronically, I would assume at this point.
All right. Any other comments or discussion on meal rates? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Moving on to seeking approval for a post-secondary administration agreement for the 22-23 school year with M-State for post-secondary.
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We need to have a motion to approve equipment purchase for our agreement between the school district and the city for the Roosevelt chiller system. Would someone make that motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Jeff said just the fundamentals to get the project going, or is it the entirety of the?
Yeah, this is the 575,000 purchase price that the city will take over our anhydrous ammonia system.
Okay, very good. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Next, looking for a motion on the agreement between the school district and CMTA for retro commissioning and building optimization services at Lincoln School. So, would someone make that motion?
I'd like to make that motion with the caveat that there is, I think there's one or two minor wordsmithing things that we need to put in there, but it won't change the substance of the contract at all.
All right, and then a second?
Second?
All right, and then discussion. What kind of?
I think there was just like one word missing on one sentence, and I think there was one other similar item that Matt had brought up.
Just need a few, just for clarity and just some standard operating procedure, like a manual.
Okay,
And then just making sure that they train our staff.
okay.
Once they have it commissioned and running correctly, that our staff is trained too.
Very good.
So it was a
Good
training
catch.
issue, and then I think there was the word evaluation, I think there was something like that, just one word. that was missing. So those are the only minor changes that I would include in that motion.
I saw it almost paid for itself in the first year, didn't it? Like it was 34,000 in savings and it was 43,000 in costs. So.
Yep.
Good.
Anything else on the discussion on that topic? Thanks for the clarity. Good catch, Matt. Kirby, appreciate it.
Missy?
Missy? Okay, all right.
It's a group catch.
Yeah, there you go.
All in favor, say aye.
Somebody, we get a second?
Oh,
Yes, I had it, I seconded it.
Oh, okay,
Missy
good.
seconded.
Okay.
Okay, my bad.
Or you vote just for clarity, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. And looking for a motion to approve our fiscal year '24 long-term facility maintenance 10-year plan. Someone make that motion.
so moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
All right. And Renee, you put it out for next 11 years, and it looks like.
Yes, and so Ellers helped us put this together, and so this is based on health and safety funding that we can get, and so, and also then an LTF bond. So they, on the revenue sheet, line 16B lists the new, the health and safety portion of it. And if you look out, so it's about maybe 150,000 for the next few years, but then in 2029, 30, and 31 is where the majority of that funding is coming in. Their intent is to wrap this debt service around other existing debt that we currently have that will fall off in the later years. And then line 50B of the debt service also shows the deferred maintenance part of it. So we have the two different categories there. And so then those expenditures are then rolled into the expenditure sheet, and so upon your approval today, I would submit this to the state. And I should also note that for the health and safety portion, it does require, it doesn't need to meet certain specifications for the state for the air quality, and so we did receive something from our engineer on that we can submit as well, so.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and then when we meet with the finance committee, we will plan to talk with Ellers to go through the details of the bond issue a little bit more, the potential or projected bond issue.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right. And looking for a motion to approve the service agreement between the school district and Otter Tail County for the transportation of children and youth in foster placement. Would someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
And then a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That's approved. We have concluded the agenda for this morning, and we'll stay for multiple discussion topics. And our next board meeting is Monday the 22nd at 7:15 right here. And is that our last early morning meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Seeking a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on adjournment? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.